Ridgeway ESB.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Banned Bikes and Booze Reviews. Firstly, an apology. I did promise to be reviewing lots of English beer in the last video that I put up, which was a pretty crap Spanish or supposed Spanish beer, which was brewed over here. And then I got the cold, the worst cold I've had in my memory anyway, and it's lasted a week, and I haven't had a beer for a week. So this is going to be my first beer in actually it's over a week, and yeah, it was pretty bad. And apparently there's a lot of stuff going around. I've got a couple of mates who've got COVID at the moment. Luckily I didn't have COVID. I did a test and it didn't come back positive, but I felt like shit. Really bad sore throat, coughing, bunged up nose, aching, you know, the usual crap. I'm sure a lot of you watching this have had it as well. There's a lot of it going around. My missus is a 111 operator, and if you don't know what that is, it's like not an emergency medical line, but it's who you go to and you get triaged if you do have a particular emergency. But she was saying that a lot of people were ringing up with really bad colds, lots of vulnerable people as well. So there is definitely something going around. So if you haven't had it, then try and avoid it. I got it by going into the office in London, and yeah, that was not a good move. I had a night on the Guinness as well. I felt really good actually. Didn't have a hangover the next day, and then towards the end of the day, I contracted this cold. So and there was a fella in the office who had a cold as well. So I obviously called it off him, and yeah, not good. But I digress. I'm better now, I think, and I'm certainly not coughing as much as I was, and I haven't got the sore throat, but still not 100%. But to fulfill my promise, I've got some of this stuff today, and this is the Ridgeway ESB Extra Special Bitter. Now, Extra Special Bitter is a style, believe it or not. It's usually a stronger style bitter, and you have Best Bitter and you have Extra Special Bitter. ESB is synonymous with Fuller's. I don't know whether I've tried the Fuller's ESB. It is one of the best ESB in my opinion that this country produces. It's a fantastic beer, and I wouldn't have expected anything less from Fuller's because they are a fantastic brewery. I'm hoping to do another brewery tour there in a couple of weeks. If I do it, I know you're not allowed to film during the brewery tour, but I'll give you a few shorts and whatever, and I'm probably going to have a couple of beers in the pub outside. I think it's called the Griffin, the pub, and yeah, there is some fantastic beer to be had in there. Anyway, I am digressing. Ridgeway, who are they? Well, they're from Oxfordshire. Now, I've tried some of their beers before on the channel, and if you do a search on my channel, you'll see there's quite a few that I've reviewed in the past, and generally they have been quite good. And what I like about them as well is they stick to the traditional styles. They mostly do traditional English styles, like proper English IPA. They do barley wine. They do a red ale, which is a little bit unusual. Red ale is not synonymous with the UK. It's more of an Irish style beer, but it does have its place. And I think I've got one of the red ales in the fridge. I've got a rye ale by them as well. But I noticed that they were doing this ESB, and they do two bitters. They do the Oxford Blue, which I've got in the fridge as well, and they've got this. So I'm trying this stuff first. Now, I don't know if there's any of the viewers that live around the Oxfordshire area, but I'm sure you're familiar with Ridgeway. They are from the area. They've been going since 2002, and they are, I wouldn't say that they're a cooperative, but they share a brewery with two other independent brewers. So basically what that means is they haven't got their own brewery, but they've clubbed together or joined together with other independent brewers, and they share a brewery, so they brew their beer in conjunction with other breweries as well, but they sell it under their own name and with their own recipes as well, I am assuming. I like what they do, as I say, and I like the style of beer that they produce. So all in all, this is looking quite good. Now, I haven't had any of their bitters before, but I do remember specifically liking the barley wine and liking the IPA. So I'm hoping that this ESB is not going to let me down. So let's stop gassing. Let's get this sorted out. Right, this is a 500ml bottle. It's 5.8%, but I have seen it at 5.2% as well. I'm assuming that's the cask version, because I think this is available on cask. It was definitely available at 5.2 at one point, but it's now 5.8, which I'm not really going to complain about. The IBUs on this are 37, which is about standard for an English bitter. And what I do like about the brewery is they give you a brew sheet, and the rundown of the hops is interesting. There's two types in here. You've got Challenger. Now, I really do like Challenger hops in a bitter. There is a bitter that I keep banging on about, and it's fantastic. It's called the Coniston Bluebird. If you've had it, you know what I'm talking about. That's a single hopped bitter, and it's got Challenger hops in it, and it's fantastic. It tastes really, really nice, and it is really in keeping with the style as well. But you wouldn't expect anything less of a beer with Challenger hops in it, because Challenger hop character is, it's got like a spicy content to it. That's its main thing. It's also got notes of green tea in it as well. Now, the green tea is obviously coming from the leafy style nature of the hop, so I would imagine that this is potentially dry hopped, but it's a great hop to put into an English bitter. I think, well, you could argue that there's others that are better, but it's one of the best, in my opinion, that you can use. And generally, when combined with Maris Otter, you get a fantastic bitter. So that's one of the hops, Challenger. The next one is Y Target. Now, Y as in WYE, that denotes the area where it comes from. Y, of course, is around, if you're from that area, you'll obviously know, but it's from around the Shropshire, Herefordshire way. That's the river that runs through them areas. And the interesting thing about Target is that it's derived from Challenger. So hops are always, how can I say this? They're being improved on, basically, because hops do succumb to certain diseases that plants are renowned for, such as mildew, etc. And of course, farmers are always trying to improve the yield of any hops. And Y is a derivative of the Challenger hop. It came about due to research in the Y College of Foodstuffs, which I think was in 1972, and they basically produced this hop to give flavours such as herbal notes, for example sage, that kind of thing. It's even got tobacco flavours in it. Now, of course, tobacco is a plant, but this has been renowned for having a tobacco flavour. It also contains the black pepper spice, and it's used as an aroma hop and a bittering hop as well. So it's a dual purpose hop, and I would imagine that this is the bittering hop that's in there. But Target is a hop you do find quite often in English ales, which again is a good thing. So on paper, this is looking really good, and I'm really looking forward to trying it. So let's shut up, let's get it open, and let's see what's going on. Right, I should have said in the last section that this actually they do use whole leaf hops in here. They're not hop extract or hop oil, which is a really good thing in my opinion, because why go for the imitation, well, they're not imitations, but why bastardise hops when you can use the real thing? Of course it's expensive when you do that. Hop extract being the cheapest. There's the cap, just plain white. But yeah, I do like when I see whole leaf hops in beer. Now, I'm just looking at the glass I'm using. It's a Cotley Brewery glass. Cotley, based in Somerset, are sadly no more. They've been taken over. They've gone into administration, which is a real shame. They were a fantastic brewery. I still think their beers are being produced under licence, but the brewery is sadly no more, which is a real shame. Oh well, R.I.P. Cotley. You were good when you were around, believe me. Right, on the nose. Oh, this smells really nice. Oh, lovely spicy aromas coming from that straight away. And sweet malt as well. I'm wondering if there's some kind of brewing sugar, or invert sugar I should say. But it smells really nice, and there's a lot of the hop character on there. Nice leafy, herbal notes, along with some spicy notes on there as well. Oh, the aroma is really good, and thankfully I have got my sense of smell back. I did lose it when I had the cold, but it's now thankfully back. Oh, that does smell really good. Lovely, lovely herbal, spicy and sweet notes, if you can imagine that. Sweet malt, like caramel. Smells promising. Let's see what it's like. Bottoms up. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, that's lovely. That's a really nice beer, and it is full of hop character, English hop character, and it is bitter. I will say that the IBUs on this are 37, as I mentioned, and that's kind of about right. But this is really, really flavoursome. I'll give you a rundown on the flavours in a sec. God, the finish on it is so long as well. Wow. Yeah. Oh, the spice on the finish as well. Wow. Oh, that is big. Right, the two dominant flavours on this are caramel, and there's a big seam of black pepper spice on this that lingers and lingers on the finish, which it should do on an English bitter. This is really good, and it's quite hefty as well. You do get the kind of you do get the feeling of a full-bodied English bitter with this. There's a nice amount of carbonation on that too. And the temperature is perfect for this. This is just like winter cellar temperature. There it is in the glass. There is a haze to it, and it's got quite nice head retention on that as well, I have to say. God, that aroma. That just smells of England. That does. Oh, it's really nice. I am liking this. I will say, from memory, it is not as sweet as the Fuller's ESB. This is all about the real spicy character on the palate and on the finish as well. Really nice black pepper spice, and them Challenger hops and the Wire Target hops as well really are coming through on this. But the spiciness just lingers and lingers. Now, this is my first pint, well, my first beer in a week, and I'm really impressed. Now, whether that's because I've not had a beer past my lips in a week and this is just full of flavour, but, or I should say my senses are more alert to it, but either way, it's a great beer. Let's dive in again. For all that flavour, it is quite easy drinking. The carbonation is spot on. It's there, you do notice it, but it's not obtrusive. But it really does enhance the mouthfeel on this, which is really nice. It's just like I wouldn't say it's just like, but it's almost like a cask beer, in my opinion. But the dominating thing on this, and I'm going to say it again, it's the spice and the caramel. The two big things on here. So that's just the malt character and the hop character really shining through, which they should do in a really good English bitter. It's lovely. There's a nice, almost like orchard fruit note on that as well. When I say orchard fruit, I mean like an apple or pear note running through it as well. And I do find that on some good quality English ales. Now, sometimes when you get that sour taste, that's a beer that's gone off. That shouldn't be construed as an orchard fruit. Yes, apples can be quite sour, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the slightly sweet type notes that you get from apples, the green apple, like sort of Granny Smith type flavour. I do detect that in there as well, and it's really nice. I have to say, I am fucking loving this. Really good. Yeah, I'm impressed. I don't think I'm going to come up with any more adjectives on this. All I'm going to say is this is very drinkable, and this is what this country does best. Bitter. No other country can do it quite as good as the British. And I have to say, although the Germans have got alt beer, which is similar, I will say, I mean, it does have some of the characteristics. You just cannot beat a full-bodied English bitter. It really does stand out on its own, and especially an ESB like this as well. Now, is it as good as the Fuller's ESB? Well, I'd have to do a head-to-head on it. It's that good. But I'm still going to go with the Fuller's ESB. On cask, it's just sublime. It really is. And it's testimony to this lot, though, that I am putting it in the same bracket as this. Not just because it's called an ESB, because it is an exceptionally good beer. So what's the verdict on Ridgeway ESB? Well, I like the brewery. I've tried some of their beers before, and I had high hopes for this, and I definitely wasn't let down. This is a great beer. It really is. And if you're from the Oxford area and you see this, especially on cask, I mean, that is going to be amazing on cask, I would imagine. I don't think it's going to be as strong. That is 5.8%, so it's got a little bit of weight behind it, and it's going to be not sessionable, if you know what I mean. It's you know, when you're touching the 6%, you've got to give it a little bit of respect. But you would never know it's that strong. It's got a real strong hop character on there. Nice big caramel malt notes to it as well. Fuck me, that was difficult to say, and I've only had a few mouthfuls. And yeah, I have to say that this is fantastic. I'm just looking at the side. What does it say? Malt, hops, yeast and water. They're the ingredients. Well, fucking hell. Stroll on. You've got that spot on. I will say, I mean, these are a husband and wife team, as far as I know. Been going since 2002. And I urge you to get some of that. It's weird. I'm just looking at the back of it. It's got a lot of the stuff is in Italian for some reason. I wonder if this is exported to Italy. Interesting. Why is it in Italian? Hang on, what has it got here? Don't tell me. This has got the EU importer. There is an EU importer for this, Diamond Beverages, which is based in Finland. Well, who knew that? Amazing stuff. If this is being exported to Italy, then yeah, that's even better. How would that go with Italian food? I don't know. I'm going to make myself a risotto tonight, so I can't find out because I'm going to fucking drink this, and this isn't going to last long because this is very drinkable, but it's 6.8%. You've got to be careful, as I say. Right, that's just so good. It really is good. I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10 because it's a great beer. Now, I like the fact that they do traditional English style beers because, let's face it, let's promote what we're good at in this country. But that's a really good one. And if, as I say, if you live in the area, try and get hold of some because that really is a nice bitter. Now, I was having a bit of a, not an argument, but a discussion with someone on Twitter, or is it X as it's called today. Believe me, I don't post much on Twitter and all that because it's a fucking cesspit. It really is. Some of the shit that's going on at the moment, especially all that Palestine and Israel stuff. Honestly, I'm not fucking interested in that. I know people have views on it. I couldn't give a flying hairy one about it. I know that's going to piss some people off, but I just don't have an opinion on it, and that's just me. But somebody was talking about local beers, support your local breweries, and don't buy the stuff that's well known, like the bigger brewery stuff, which I sort of agree with. But I did make the point to him to say that we need to, yes, support our local breweries, providing they're producing a good quality beer for a reasonable price. And there was a little bit of kickback from some people who were saying, well, you know, you should support them regardless. And I don't agree with that. I don't think we should support them just because they're local. If you're producing shit beer, you're not going to get my money. I'm sorry if that's, you know, controversial, but produce a good product and I will give you my hard-earned cash. If you produce a pile of shit, I'm not going to fucking pay for it. And if you fool me once, that's shame on you. And if you fool me twice, that's shame on me. I nearly did a George Bush there. I was trying to work it out in my head before I said it. Anyway, this is a great beer. I will definitely be buying this again. That's a 9 out of 10. Definitely recommended. If you can see it online, or even better if you're local to Oxfordshire or around that area, then definitely check this brewery out. They do some good stuff. Their IPA, from memory, is really good. It's really nice. It's very much in the style of an English IPA. And some of their other stuff as well. The barley wine I do remember as being very good as well. So there you go. Well done, Ridgeway. That's fantastic. That's a 9 out of 10 for me, and that is definitely recommended. And remember, beer is working class champagne.